Having worked in managing positions across different industries, I've overseen and created budgets multiple times. I've gained insights into both effective budget planning and common pitfalls. And when I started my personal finance journey, I learned some tough lessons quickly. So today I would like to share with you the budgeting challenges that I faced, how I overcame them, and the steps you can take to avoid these mistakes. When I started on my financial journey, I assumed that cutting back on these big purchases would be enough. I would go through my bank statements and notice a $50 dinner, a $70 shopping spree, or $30 on a new hair product that I thought would be the one to help me grow my hair faster. I figured if I just avoided big spending over the next few months, I would have tons of money left to finally start saving. But to my surprise, even though I was cutting out these big expenses, I was left with almost nothing at the end of the month. What I didn't realize is that it wasn't only those big expenses that actually kept me broke. It was the smaller everyday purchases like the coffee runs, the snacks, or the Amazon finds. I didn't pay attention to these little things that, as the saying goes, really do add up. And while it felt restrictive at first to start tracking all my spending, it was a wake-up call. And I also knew that it was just for a short period of time. If you're finding it hard to save, try looking at those smaller expenses that don't really add much value to your life and see if they're impacting your budget more than you think. Another mistake that I made early on and that I still catch myself doing sometimes is buying gear or supplies for something I haven't even tried out yet. I think it's so easy to get excited and think, I need all the workout clothes before I start a workout routine, or I need all the hiking gear before I have even started hiking. I've also bought supplies for a hobby that I ended up barely using. And here's what I learned. First, try the activity. See if you're really into it before spending on all the extras. Then if it's something that you're actually sticking with, upgrading can make sense because it saves you time or you enhance the experience long term. But for anything new, start with the basics or with what you already have at home and then splurge on the extras. Let's be real. Impulse buying happens no matter how well we plan. Instead of setting a budget you know you won't be able to stick to, consider leaving a little bit of room for those spontaneous purchases. Trying to go cold turkey on impulse buys from one day to another can actually make you feel worse about your budget because every time you break the rules, you feel like you're failing. Think of it as balance. The goal is to eventually get to a place where you're making impulse buys, not because you're bored or because you're trying to fill a void, but because it's genuinely something that you want and that adds value to your life. Until you get there, it can help to budget for a small amount for spontaneous purchases to prevent that guilty cycle of overspending and then stressing out about it. Because all it does is leading to not taking action at all when it comes to your savings goals. Later on in this video, I will talk about how to set this up in your budget. But for now, let's move on to another key mistake. One of the most freeing parts of value-based budgeting is that you're able to spend on what you really genuinely like, not what others think you should value. Just because everyone else is spending on certain things doesn't mean you have to. When you shape your budget around what really matters to you, it's easier to stick to it and feel good about the spending choices you make. If you love traveling, then prioritize it. It might mean spending less in other areas of your life, like going out or buying new clothes every month. But at least you know that you're setting aside money for what you love. And that's definitely worth it. One great quote that I came across say, when you know what you value, you're actually adding more value to your life. When your spending aligns with what truly matters to you, your life will feel more meaningful. Budgets aren't set in stone, and they should grow with us because life surprises us all too often, and sometimes we have to adjust. If you're aiming for a budget that is too strict, it can lead to frustration. By setting budgets that are too low, you might slow down your progress. Finding that personal sweet spot is key. Only because someone can save 30% of their income doesn't mean that it's also right for you. Their circumstances, responsibilities, and goals might be completely different from yours. Look at your goals, your income, and any life changes. Adjusting your budget to where you're at makes it more realistic and keeps you on track. This one was a real game changer for me. For a long time, budgeting felt too restrictive for me, and I didn't even start it because I value my freedom way too much. The thought of constantly tracking every single thing that I spend would make me want to avoid budgeting altogether. Traditional budgeting just didn't work for me. Then I realized budgeting isn't about restricting your freedom. It's about directing it. I started focusing less on where my money was going and more on where I wanted to go in the future. Instead of seeing it as limiting, I saw it as giving me choices. I started building healthy financial habits back when I still was earning a little bit above minimum wage. While earning more was part of my plan, getting disciplined with my money early made a huge difference when my income did increase. Which is a great transition to my next point, which is not assigning meaning to your money. Instead of creating a budget, I created a spending plan with purpose. And it's not only me saying that. A study has actually found that savings rates among households rose higher when asked to attach a picture of their children to an envelope in which they stored their weekly savings. Households not only saved more, but they were also less likely to deplete their savings through spending. Now, how do you go about it? Start with listing the top 3 things that you absolutely love and that you cannot live without. For me personally, that's traveling, festivals, and a home with big windows. Those are the areas of my life where I allow myself to spend a little bit more because I know that they improve my quality of life. On the other hand, I don't value eating out as much or getting a gym membership because I work out from home. Therefore, I allocate less to those areas of my life. It's all about assigning a purpose to every dollar you spend, so you're not just spending to spend. For you, this most likely looks completely different, but that's totally fine. Personal finance is especially one thing after all. Namely personal. Mine look like these: essential needs, housing, utilities, transportation, food; long-term savings, retirement; short-term savings, vacation; short-term savings, festival; fun budget, for example, meeting for a coffee with a friend; short road trip to explore a new city; learning and hobby budget, for example, art projects, editing for YouTube; and a small monthly allowance for potential impulse buying. Budgeting isn't about restriction. It's about creating the life you want based on your own values. And if you want to know what to do with your money once payday hits, check out this video up here, or this one about 5 easy steps to save money. And if you found this video helpful, it would mean the world to me if you give this video a thumbs up, hit the notification bell as well as the subscribe button, and join the community as it grows. So see you next time. Bye.